This January, watch one of America's greatest achievements. And it's not on NBC, it's on Long Island.
This is true. Let me tell you something. The achievement is not The New Apprentice. No. It's Long Island celebrating Brown's 100th anniversary.
It's time to celebrate and roll out the red carpet. Welcome to Long Island's most historic event of 2017. The 100-year anniversary celebration of Brown's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, Brown's Alfa Romeo Fiat, and the new Brown's Truck Center in Medford. We're celebrating 100 years of working alongside our Long Island neighbors and doing great things in our community.
My grandfather, Everett Brown, started in 1917 in the village of Bellport, starting with Willie's Night Whippet and basically any other product that you were looking for. He would get a Oldsmobile, a Buick, or any other product that you were looking for back in the day. Essentially, he was a broker, not a franchise dealer, but a gas station garage operator working on anything and ultimately taking care of the customer.
And it all began in 1917. Woodrow Wilson is president. Our country is at war with Germany. Man o' War is the horse to beat, and Ella Fitzgerald sings for the first time. While in the small town of Bellport, Everett Brown opens his Willie's Night and Whippet shop. In 1924, Walter Chrysler starts the Chrysler Corporation, while Everett Brown provides taxi service from Patchogue train station to the Wyandotte Hotel in Bellport. In 1935, Everett begins selling Dodge and Plymouth. In the 1940s, the Army quartermaster calls for a lightweight recon vehicle that could carry men and equipment. Thus, Willie's Overland to the rescue, and the four-cylinder, 60-horsepower Jeep went to war. When the war ended, America went back to building and buying cars, and Brown's combined selling with service.
I'd like to go back and just briefly discuss back in the 30s and 40s. Brown's Garage, as it was known back then, was important to the community of Bellport. And one of the main reasons why is it was staffed 6 days a week. And when there was a local fire call, the person who was in need would call the garage, and either my father or my uncle would run across the street to ring the siren for the fire department, which was right across the street in the village of Bellport. And the siren would go off, and that's how all the local volunteer firemen would come, get the equipment, and go to the needed area. But it was Brown's Garage that people would call in the event of an emergency where they needed the fire department, not the firehouse itself, because it was not manned and it was not automated, obviously. So back in the day, Brown's Garage not only was a staple for the local community to repair their vehicles, but it was the place to call when you had a fire emergency, actually Brown's Garage. As my grandfather Everett Brown started in 1917, I'd like to present a few individual vehicles from the eras that we represented. Our first is a 1952 Willys, as my grandfather represented the Willys Night and Whippet vehicle lines. Over here we have a 1941 Dodge. What I really like to say about it is it's representative of the era. The phone number on the door, 826-0229, that was our phone number back in Bellport. 826 stood for Atlantic 6 back in the day. And this is a exquisite vehicle that we enjoy using in parades and other venues. Whatever they wanted, he would get, especially in the village of Bellport. Those customers he embraced and really took care of. And that's how we were able to grow the family business. He had 3 sons, his oldest, Ken, and then my father, Bob, and his twin brother, Dick, all went into the business and all had different roles and responsibilities. My Uncle Dick was in the parts department, which basically had like 3 shelves. That was about it. It was a small operation. My father took care of the customers in the service drive, and my Uncle Ken basically took care of the shop as the mechanic. Small operation, I actually grew up in the operation, being that I lived above the facility until I was 7 or 8 years old. And as a kid, remember, sweeping the floor, doing whatever we had to do to take care of, the overall facility. And then even more so, as the business started to grow, with my father and his twin brother and his other brother, they expanded the shop to a whopping 6-bay shop and put gas pumps that used to be on the street, now on the property. And I was actually on the schedule to pump gas starting in middle school, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock when I was 8 years old, or not 8 years old, how old would I have been in middle school? Let's see, probably 12 or 13 years old. I was on the schedule from 3 to 6 every day to pump gas, and my grandfather instilled on me to take care of the customer. Back in the day, I was assigned to pump gas, and I worked there with not only my uncles, but my aunts worked in the office, and my cousins also. Whether they pumped gas with me or cleaned cars, it was truly a family operation, complete operation, selling and servicing cars.
In 1951, Everett forms a partnership with his 3 sons, Kenneth, Richard, and Robert. In 1960, Brown's begins selling Ford, and a new repair shop was built with gas pumps at Bellport.
Back in 1963, we acquired a piece of property, the Browns did, that is, in Bellport, just east of where our operation was. We had an opportunity to grab this property, and we put up a 6-bay garage right next to us with gas facilities in front. 1964, we opened it, and as you can see, it's truly a family operation. To the far left is my cousin Ronnie, who is our service manager. Next to him is my grandfather, and this is 1964. My grandfather had just retired then. But if you notice what's in his left hand, he's standing by the gas pumps, it's a cigarette. And if you look at the octane on the premium, it's 100 octane. You go to the gas station today and the best you can get is 93. But back in the day, it was leaded gasoline and it was 100 octane. Next to my grandfather is his oldest son, Ken, who basically ran the shop. And then next to him is my father's twin brother, Richard. And then that's me when I was 5 years old. Just walked downstairs at the right time because we lived upstairs, walked downstairs and photobombed the picture next to my dad. And that's my dad on the far right, Robert Brown.
In 1965, Brown's began selling the innovative Dutch car DAF. In '68, Brown's is awarded the American Motors franchise.
1968 was the year that we were awarded our first franchise from AMC. The AMC product lineup had several cars. This one is a 1968 AMX, American Motors AMX. Competed as a pony car against the other muscle cars in its era. During the day, and still to this day, this car can go fast. Can't really stop too good, can't really turn too good, but it can go fast. And many people remember their firsts in cars. For me, this was the first car I did 100 miles an hour in. Enjoyed it immensely.
In '76, an International Harvester Scout franchise was added. And in 1983, Kenneth Brown retires. Soon after, the Jeep franchise is formally acquired, and in 1987, Gary Brown joins the family business.
So back when I was growing up, I was pumping gas, and my grandfather instilled upon me, many ideals that I still carry with me today. One of them being is your name is your reputation. And he was a hard individual to work for, and he had retired basically. It was my father and his 2 brothers that were running the organization. So my grandfather took it upon himself to really train me as a gas jockey, I guess you could say. He was retired, but he was there every day, and he continually, made sure I was out there, not only pumping the gas correctly, but checking the oil, washing the windshield, because that's what you did back in the day, back in the 60s when I pumped gas. But he instilled upon me the importance of Brown's is a name that you need to have a strong reputation with, and it's up to you to carry it forward. And I'll never forget that conversation. Granted, I was a little maybe wild and whatnot in my teenage years, but he really ingrained that in my soul, that your name is your reputation, and one and the other are interchangeable.
In 1991, Brown's moves to Patchogue. In 1992, Robert Brown retires and Gary Brown becomes president. Now Brown's is on a roll. In 1993, Brown's acquires Chrysler Plymouth and moves to its current location, selling Jeep, Eagle, Chrysler, and Plymouth. In 2001, Subaru is purchased.
Hi, I'm Gary Brown, owner of Brown's Jeep Chrysler Subaru. Come join our grand opening celebration of our new Subaru showroom.
Brown's is celebrating by giving away a 2-year lease on a new 2006 Subaru Impreza. You want a 5-star safety rating, fuel efficiency, all-wheel drive all the time? We've got it. So choose from the largest selection of Subarus, all with deep discounts and 0% financing available.
I hope to see you at the grand opening of our new Subaru showroom, where you could win a car.
Brown's Subaru.
And by 2006, Subaru is sold and replaced with Dodge cars and trucks. In 2011, Brown's is awarded the Fiat franchise and opens a pre-owned facility in Medford. And in 2013, Gary Brown becomes Time Magazine's Dealer of the Year nominee and serves as chairman of Chrysler's National Dealer Council.
Many people have asked, Brown's been around 100 years. What's your biggest accomplishment? What are you most proud of? And I can say in recent memory, probably the biggest thing is we had a great recession, 08, 09, and 10. And during that time, I rallied all the individuals, got everybody together, had weekly meetings, and said, we'll figure this out, we'll get through it. People still need cars. This is Long Island. There's not a very good mass transit system. You need a car on Long Island. Whether the manufacturer is still producing cars or not, which at the time Chrysler was in bankruptcy and had shut down and was producing no cars, I said, guys, we'll figure this out together. We'll find used cars, we'll find bicycles, we'll do something as long as we do it together. We had weekly meetings, we talked a lot, we figured out how to pare down our advertising, pare down things, but what I'm most proud of, we didn't lay off a single person during the Great Recession. So, if anything, over our 100-year history, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of, that I wasn't around during the Great Depression, so I don't know what my grandfather did, but during the Great Recession of 09, we were able to retain every single employee, and as soon as we came out of it, we started growing like crazy, and we've doubled our sales since then, and just grown as a overall company. So, most proud of that accomplishment by being able to retain every single employee.
Progress continues as Brown's is awarded the Alfa Romeo Fiat franchise. Then, just last year, Brown's opens its Ram Commercial Truck Center in Medford. As the Brown's family business grew, local professional leaders soon realized that Brown's was more than a car dealer. Brown's had become a fixture in the community. Here's some of our friends who are helping us celebrate 100 wonderful years in business.
I think what's interesting about Brown's in particular, in the village, we have other businesses like this that have been around 100 years, and being able to sustain your business over that period of time with the quality that they have is incredible. Brown's, the same thing, 100 years. And I think what it says about the community, and it says about the people that run it, that they have faith in the community, that the community will continue to support them. But the support of the community only happens when you have the support of the companies themselves. And Brown's has always been a part of what happens, whether it's parades, whether it's Brookhaven Hospital, supporting the hospital, whether it's supporting the not-for-profit agencies. You see them at everything that we do. Everything place we go and everything that we do, Brown's has been a part of. And I think it's a family-based. They support everything and they support the people around them, and it is extremely important. I'm not a golfer, but I go to golf tournaments because I can get a nice dinner out of them. But you see Browns there, you see Gary there, you see them part of all of these things that happen. So I think that when you talk about businesses and you talk about community and you talk about what the community is and what companies mean to communities, this is what they mean. We support locally. The last two public safety vehicles we got for Browns. We got another vehicle that, in fact, my own vehicle that I use, my personal vehicle that I use, or Browns. It's all part and parcel of supporting your own, taking care of your own, and then they take care of you. The return that you get back from family-owned local businesses is so much greater than you do from your chains, your franchises. They're there to make a buck. They're here to support the community and be part of the community, be part of that greater Patchogue family.
We go back a long way. I do with Gary's father, Bob Brown. Bob Brown was one of the founders of the Bellport Chamber of Commerce, as was I. And he's basically a feature, a stalwart on Main Street in Bellport. And the family remains a stalwart in the community. And the family's been involved with local icons like its Brookhaven Memorial Hospital and the Suffolk County Council of Boy Scouts of America. They participate as community members and they support the organizations which support their business. And when the time came to grow their business, they looked long and hard at Bellport, and I think they were sad to leave, but coming to Patchogue and now in the new facility up on Route 112 in Medford, they've continued the family tradition that has been in existence for almost 100 years now. It's very important for long-time family businesses to remain viable and to be able to grow as the economy grows and as the community needs and the community grows itself. So we're very happy that Browns is here in our community.
Many have worked with us over the years to foster goodwill in our area, help those in need, and provide a path to a brighter future.
His philosophy, open door policy, take care of the customer, take care of your employees, is something I strongly believe in. And, I share that with everybody who's employed there. If we all feel the same way, we're one united team. And that's what makes Browns special.
My name is Tom Cullen. I am a third-generation family member of King Cullen Grocery Company, America's first supermarket. My family started our grocery company on Long Island in 1930, and I am here today to congratulate Browns, particularly Gary Brown and the Brown family, for celebrating their 100th year anniversary, and congratulate them for serving all of Long Island in the car dealership avenue. Well, the example would be, I think there's similarities. 100-year-old business and all the changes they've gone through with the Browns. And then my family business, King Cullen, an 86-year-old business. And with his grandfather and his father starting the business in Bellport and then moving to Route 112 and then buying out another business and expanding it. It's interesting to see the way the development has changed. And I watched our business go from my grandfather to my father. Continuity. I think a family business, not only through the generations like Browns or King Cullen, adds because the people live in the community, they're part of the community, they employ community members, they give back to the community. I think family businesses are the backbone of America. I think I'm fortunate enough to be part of a family business that's survived for 86 years, going into our fourth generation. So family businesses, in my mind, are very difficult. There's a lot of conflicts, and if you can work through it, it's a wonderful thing. And America is just built on family businesses.
Well, my name is Richard Margulies. I'm the president and CEO of Brookhaven Hospital. Been at Brookhaven for about 34 years. Live in this community. Moved to this community about 35 years ago. And I would tell you that Browns was a name that was easily recognizable from day one. At that time, they were in Bellport. They were staple in Bellport, and they had a wonderful reputation. This was before I met Gary. And then about 20 years ago, I moved into a different position at Brookhaven and started to attend meetings with the board and met Gary and found him to be an honest, straightforward individual, caring about people, He certainly cares because he demonstrates that in his volunteer work at the hospital. He's the type of person that's always there at the other end of the phone. All you have to do is pick up the phone and give him a call. I think it's admirable. 100 years in business and service to this community. And that says a lot. That just speaks for itself in terms of what his principles are, his ethics, and how he tries to serve and do good things. The hospital is just celebrating its 60th year, and I know the challenges of just hitting 60 years. I can't imagine what 100 years of commitment and reputation means to Gary and to his staff.
The one thing that always intrigued me about Brown's, I go back 40 years when I first started. I remember when I walked in here, and Ronnie Brown was the service manager. I walked in. I'll be honest with you, I was a scared, nervous kid that just walked out of trade school and came to Brown's to apply for a job. And I know Brown's was celebrating their 60th anniversary back then. So now, here I am 40 years later, and Brown's gonna be celebrating their 100th. That's something to be very proud of. I mean, in the Brown's family, Gary continued what Mr. Brown, when I say Mr. Brown, I mean Mr. Everett Brown, Gary Brown's grandfather. That gentleman had what I would call a dream, a goal, a vision of starting a business in Bellport, okay, in 1917. You know, his sons, Gary's father, Bob Brown, and his brothers, Dick and Kenny Brown, continued it. All right, so, the business kept continuing, kept evolving. And then Gary came over and he became president. That says a lot. You know, you don't see that many in businesses today where it's still family owned. It's still the same family.
As we celebrate our 100th anniversary of Brown's being in business, I'd like to thank all our past employees and current employees for their devotion to the vision that my grandfather had started and we are continuing with. As we enter the next century, we'd like to continue and prosper collectively together. Thank you.
Ride, ride, ride with Browns. Ride with Browns. Find a friend, you know you got a friend. Ride with your friends at Browns.